Welcome back, everyone. In today's video, we're back working on our HO scale layout. More specifically, we're going to be doing scenery work. All right, we have a lot to do, so let's get to it. Okay, so in today's video, we're going to be focusing on this area right here and covering up all of that white styrofoam. I've set a small goal for myself to finish from the road out to the edge and all the way back to the track. Now, that's a lot. It's a lot to do. There's a lot of little details that need to be done. We need to complete sidewalk there. We need to paint our cobblestone and weather it. Scenery, which includes putting a small sidewalk and maybe some steps up to the door there. A pathway right here going into that building. We're going to have to put a cap on top of that wall, just like we did on this side right there. And then we're going to add a fence back here. You can see I've been doing some work. If you follow me on Patreon, I've been posting pictures of different projects that I've been working on. So you can see we've added a bridge. We had to take the railing out right there. We still have to add railings around that deck. Here's another bridge. I think we're going to have to add a walkway in the back that's raised, and then maybe stairs coming down. I've also been making more trees, and they take a while to do. I really like this section here with the canopy of trees going over the top of the road. After our scenery's in, we'll add lots of leaves on the ground. And you'll see some of the trees are just starting to change color. So there's still green on them. Now I have an entire video on my YouTube channel from about a year ago showing in detail how I make these trees. I've also been adding fall trees to this side of the layout. Now notice with this tree, I actually cut it back for the power lines. I won't be adding lines on my layout, but I wanted to cut the tree back because that's how it would be in real life. They'd trim it back so that it didn't interfere with the wires. I also cut the back corner of this tree off so that it wasn't scraping against the side of that building. So I'm really wanting to focus from the street all the way to the edge, right there, and all the way back to the track. So I'll show you, I have been preparing a lot of detailed parts that go in this area. So as you can see, I've been painting a lot of details. Okay, let's start by removing some of these buildings so that we can get in here and work. Now once we get our scenery done and the details all added, we'll have these structures all glued in place permanently. Well, as you can see, everything has been removed. Now we can really start to come in, do all the scenery work, and really start to detail this area. Okay, I just cut some styrofoam for our caps that go on top of the retaining walls. Now we'll paint these to look like concrete and glue them in place. And I just cut them out of pink styrofoam that I got at Home Depot. And I'm cutting it using my hot wire Proxxon cutter. So I'm making some fencing, and I'm just carving away and busting these up. These are plastic. And here is a whole pack. And there's the web address, cvmw.com. You get 4 of these sheets in it. I'll show you a sheet. So there's lots of wood fencing, and then at the top you have metal railings. And like I said, you get 4 of these sheets in one pack. Okay, so I've been cutting this up and removing some boards. Now I'm going to spray a primer on it and paint it to look like wood. Now I'm just going to cover some of the white with raw umber. Okay, so I ended up working pretty late last night, and as you can see, I got our cobblestone road painted. I painted this little piece of sidewalk. And that'll get glued in place right there. I painted the cobblestone here. Also had to paint a little fence, put it there. I had an opening, so I needed a fence there. Got my cap glued on here. The dirt is painted brown. Now, one thing leads to another, and there's so many things that almost need to be done in order before we can start putting structures back. Like this area back here needs to be done before we put our 2 structures. And then I just built this. I put in a stone wall and a wood deck, because I'll show you. So I had to come up with something that this continues onto land, and then same with the wall. And then the other wall is already glued in place. So you can see that sits in there just like that. And that wood deck there continues straight back onto that. Now, for that wood deck that I showed you that's up here that goes to land, I had to build one. So that gets glued in place right like that. And there'll be supports. There'll definitely be supports to make it look like it's an actual structure. And then this, now I need to build a little wood deck that comes out and has a plank, like a gangplank going down to maybe a floating dock that sits right here. I'm not sure what I'm going to do over here yet. And then we have a building that sits right there. Something like that. Now we have another building that sits right here. Now that's going to get a wood deck that goes in between here and then has stairs that go down to this level here. And then we need to fill in right here with some planks just so that there's not much of a bump there. For no vehicles go on there, but it's for taking large, I don't know, crates and supplies in there over to that side. Now we have this building that sits right there. And we need to put in a wood deck there and actually finish that structure. You see there's a big hole there. So we need to put some door that is an entrance from the street level. And then once we have this area back here done and these glued in, after we get this put in place, there's a bridge that goes across. So there's a lot of steps and a lot of things have to be done in order. Okay, I just did some weathering on the cobblestone here, and we'll put in weeds and add some dirt, but let's get back to our original plan of getting grass and dirt all put in here. And then we'll get these two buildings put in place and add a bunch of details, probably even put some figures out on the sidewalk. But let's get back to focusing on this. I put that in place to show you that we need to look at it from all angles. You'll see we need to put in some bushes and some weeds along there. And we can't forget, which I already did forget, there's a tree that gets put in place right here. So we'll have to bust up some of this cobblestone and plant our tree. Okay, so it's the next day. Everything's had time to dry. All those little leaves are glued in place. Have some old appliances. We have a stove, toilet, old radiator, a barrel, I still have to add a railing around here. Notice the cinder block in the corner holding up the stairs. And then I even started putting some trash well, not trash, but crates and barrels and things down here. Because next, this sits right there. And then we have our bridge that'll get glued right there. And of course I have to stain the deck yet, and there's pilings that get put in front of it, and probably a staircase that goes down to another platform down here. A lot more to do in this area. Next, I want to add some signs up here and details, and we need to get dirt put in here and some grass. So we need to place our structures right where they go so that we know where to put signs and detail parts. I mean, we don't want to put them in areas that just aren't going to show. Okay, so as you can see, I've added some signs and added some detail parts. Now those detail parts, I did dry brush an off-white over them because it gets a little dark back there, and I'll show you. There's a building that goes right here. And you can see it gets quite a bit darker back there. So by dry brushing the highlights on there, it shows more. Okay, I just added some more to this side. You can see some crumpled up newspapers. Okay, let me give you a quick update on the front section. I've been putting in little weeds along the curb. I need to weather that little piece of concrete, that step there, and maybe put some weeds around it. We'll have lots of figures in front of the coffee shop. You can see there's a guy playing the guitar, trying to earn some money. He's not glued in place yet. I may have to do a little bit of weathering to him. I'd like to add some signs on the side of that post to let people know that that direction there are stores. And we'll definitely get a lot more figures on the street. Cars. Now, I've set stuff in place just to get an idea of what I need to do next, and possibly more detail parts, what needs to be painted. I'll give you an example. Back here, you can see I picked a bunch of details to go back there, and I'll need to paint all those. And then next to it in the corner, there'll be some really tall bushes and just lots of weeds. I did get weeds all along there, some up the center. We need to add a ledge, a cap right there, probably with the railing, just like on that side. Put a railing on this side. I have to build my landing pad back here and steps going down to that level back there. Now I want to build a railing that goes up the side of the steps there, and then railings that go around the front of this rectangle, just in the front there. And then we'll have to probably put like a rope railing going up the side of that ramp. We'll have to put in pilings, and those all get weathered and barnacles added. I'll have to stain this. There'll be pilings going up the front with a rope railing, and then a staircase that comes down, turns a little bit, and goes this way because there'll be a deck that fills in that back area and comes down here, maybe to a floating dock right here. Exciting to see it coming together. I just love all the different levels. We need to get our bridge painted so it matches the rest. And then we need to do lots of work over here, getting more of these long posts put in back here. And again, we'll have a dock coming off here, and then stairs coming down to maybe a floating dock over here too. I'm not sure yet. Now it's really going to be fun to work on this area right here, because I'm going to do more rock work so that it matches more of this side over here. I'll match the color of the rock. And then we'll do static grass and weeds in here. You know, since I've been working on this side, I wanted to add some of this greenery over here. So I've been adding a little bit here and there, but I definitely need to add some more of that grass, I think, back along here. I just added this little bush here, and I'll put more grass and weeds down in here, just so that it matches this side a little bit better. And I think maybe we'll put in some of the rocks over here to match the other side. You know, I'll admit, sometimes I get overwhelmed with how much work needs to be done to complete this layout and make it look the way that I have envisioned it in my head. This section that we've worked on here is 1.5 feet wide by 2.5 feet long. And there's so many little things that go into this. Still, as I pointed out, there's so many little things that need to be completed to complete the entire scene. And then we still need to paint and do all of our water to make it look realistic. And actually, I think I'm going to, when I get this all done, we'll actually have a video on doing water. And then I'm pretty close to having the side over there done, the original waterfront section. I want to update it with some more weeds and bushes, maybe some more trees here and there. But then it'll be time to do the water on that side too. And then we can move over to the other side of the road here and work on that area. It's so exciting when you get inspired to work on the layout and you really start to see some finished scenes coming together. All right, well, this is probably a pretty long video, so I'm going to wrap it up for today. Thank you all so much for watching, and of course, a huge thank you to all of my Patreon members. This channel is not possible without the help of all of these people. Incredible. If you want to become a Patreon member, go to patreon.com/Jason Jensen Trains, and I'll put it right here on the screen. Now during the week, I post every single day, and you get to see behind the scene photos of me working on different areas. All right, again, thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, stay motivated and happy modeling, everyone.